it started.
What
Ah,
day is it?
I don't
Is
even
that
know.
that's what I thought you were gonna say. What day is it?
Well, I wasn't even of presence of mind to say that, but I gotta say, welcome to another Hope, Power, and Healthcare with Chris Hempill and
Melissa Riley.
hello, hello. How have you been?
Chris, today was like a great day. The fun part was that I got to reconnect with some old friends, three old friends, and I even got to do a workout class with one of my friends and founders of Cerula Care. Shout out to Supriya on her first solid core class. Go
Wait a
Supriya.
minute. Wait a minute. So we're over here hyping up Discord as a way to connect, but you're out here working out with your founders and your fam. That's super cool.
Yeah, I love that. Actually, my friends over at Evio were talking about how founders have to be really resilient. I know I've talked about this a little bit before, and I think part of that resilience is like movement, and exercise, and strength training, and walking, and just sometimes taking a break from the computer. And we had so much fun working out. And of course, we talked a little bit of work, but really it was just trying to survive the class.
Wow. So when it comes to the workouts that work for you that keep you grounded and rounded, like what's your focus?
Okay, so I started as a competitive swimmer all through almost all the way up until college. And then I would teach classes and competitive triathlons through college. It was like something I did for some extra money. And then I found running. And then I felt like I spent my 20s like running away from things on
Mm-hmm.
treadmills, like hours on treadmills. And I would not lose any weight. And so now in my 40s, I have absolutely found strength training and Pilates, and I have just fallen in love and I am obsessed. And I am now up to 164 classes in this past year working out.
Holy
Yeah.
wow. Okay. Cool. Cool. Good to hear. And yeah, yeah. Great reminder. Great reminder that I'll just say it with me. Like, sometimes I talk about like overworking a bit, like late nights and stuff like that, and that can sometimes get in the way of like, am I going to work on this project that has a strict deadline, or am I going to go out and get that run? And very often I'll make that mistake and prioritize the project first. Well, sometimes that's necessary, but I like immediately after the following day, the following hours, like something goes down, something's off. So gotta have that run, gotta have that the strength training, not just for the pounds and all that, but just for the processing and just the feeling that it leaves me with.
Yeah, I think that I've been doing a lot less sitting in this phase of my career than ever before. And I don't know if it's just, I feel like I have more permission to like step away when I'm working for myself and not, someone else. It's like, okay, I could do my work a little bit on my time. I think I've also been a little bit more creative in how I do my workouts. So, um, while I won't bill a client for a workout, like it's really, really fun to go for a working walk or do something creative or moving with a founder is awesome. And I love the time to be able to do that.
Fabulous. That's something I think everybody should add to their menu. The working walk. A lot of times when, like, hey, I have a meeting coming up, but can I take a dog with me on this one? Do we really need a screen? And it's just a great way to get out of the house and log that nice 0.76 miles.
And one thing I'm a con on, though, although I admire people for doing this, is those walking pads. So I'm all for people getting that walking pad underneath their desk and like trotting along.
Wait, what's a
Um,
walking pad? Is
it's
that like
like it's
the
not like a treadmill.
oh
It's like I don't think it has a motor, but you can walk on it while you're like doing your emails and such. I had a client many, many years ago who would do all of our weekly touch base calls for implementation on their walking pad. And so it would look like this. It was like she was bouncing up and down the whole time, and I would get like nauseous. So use your walking pad to your heart's content. Just do not be on camera when you do that
yeah.
because it creates motion sickness for me.
And also like for some of these meetings, like for the walking meetings, it doesn't have to be FaceTime sometimes. It's just easier to go cameras off and have a conversation with someone. I recently did that with a client, and it was we had a coffee chat and it was pretty awesome.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So, Chris, how I have one more thing to tell you about my week, which was very fun. But before I do that, tell me about your week. How was yours?
My week was pretty cool, pretty cool. Like a lot of times these days blur together, but there have been like I'm talking to myself when I'm talking about like these recommendations for getting out and staying active and all that. Like I had reached that point recently where I wasn't running quite as much, but now it's back in the action, back in the game. Anybody who's following me on Strava, you can see that the runs are coming back in, and just really loving just being out back in the city.
I feel like I could find you anytime I want. I could Discord you and I could see what you're saying. I could get on Strava and I can see where you're walking. You make it quite easy to stalk you. I kind of love that.
Yeah, I was about to say, like thinking all the cybersecurity enthusiasts who are listening to this podcast are probably turning it off right now. Like you can, I'm just so easy to find, and gosh, y'all, we need like a secret word for if you're getting a phone call that sounds like me, because like we've been podcasting so much that if somebody wanted to make some deep fakes of us, it'd be too easy for it.
Oh, interesting. This idea of deep fake. One of my clients was telling me about this website where you can actually make your own avatar who can do consulting for you. So if your clients can't afford the full service version of you, they can have the AI version of Melissa and Chris. And I feel like I don't have the name on me at the moment. If I had my phone, I would go grab it for us. But like we could also have the AI avatar version of Chris and Melissa.
You know what? That's the goal of the CEO of Zoom. He said he wanted to make something that such that he didn't have to attend these meetings. And honestly, based on a webinar I was on, I think that might have been achieved. And for better or for worse, like this, I want to give a shout out to Jose Garcia, who invited me to speak on a webinar. Can health AI can AI help healthcare be more proactive? Uh,
Oh, that's so cool.
yeah,
Oh, your first independent speaking, second independent speaking gig, right? You love those.
some number,
Yeah.
but yeah, outside of company purview, like we get to have our Hope, Power, and Healthcare podcast every week. But yeah, I love to get up and have conversations. I want to bring you into some of those too, if I can.
Oh,
I
you're so
want to
sweet.
organize one of those. But Jose is a fabulous moderator. He had it was a great format. But I did notice at the very beginning of the webinar, like when the chat opened up, I'll send a screenshot so you can you can see exactly how crazy it was. But everybody's note takers were just popping up on the screen. So I'm like, come on now. Well, like, but everybody's gonna get good notes out of it and everything like that. But I was still like, it still just looked funny seeing John's
Note
note
taker.
recorder. Yeah, note taker. We're talking 100 people on a Zoom call. So
And 50% of the people there were note taking,
yes,
note takers. They were not real people.
maybe mine was too. I don't remember,
Yeah.
but yeah.
I think, did you see that the scans of people's brains, the people's brains that use ChatGPT and how like only one small area lights up and the people not using ChatGPT and like their entire brain lights up. Now, I don't know if this is a deep fake or not, but it did start to get me wondering a little bit. You know, are these note takers actually hurting our meetings or helping? Because I love it. Like, but I don't know if my recall is as good. And I often find myself being like, let me pull up that transcript and send you part of the transcript from the call, which maybe is like a little bit of hacking, I guess.
It's like you're adapting your brain to what's available, right? Like Socrates was anti-writing. Like he was like, well, if our scholars are writing things down, then how are they going to remember the Iliad off the top of their heads? Like we're letting a piece of our brain rot.
Atrophy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
atrophy.
All right, Chris, that's your challenge. I'd like you to quote the Iliad next podcast.
You know what? I'm not gonna go all the way through the Iliad, but I do want to bring in, like we should bring in some poems or quotes that help.
Inspire.
Yes, yeah, I have some
Yeah,
in mind. So let's think through that for next time.
amazing. I think that would give people a lot of hope. Um, well, where did you want to start? Like with our episode today, do you want to run down the agenda?
Well, really, I wanted to give more of a shout out on on Jose's webinar,
Okay.
just because the really fascinating thing that he did, and plus like this is an episode that contains some AI, but Melissa Shackelford was there. Guests would know her, so she comes to it from a marketing background. He had technologists as well. It was like probably like 10 or 11 people that they were cycling through. They were having some specific focused conversations, then moving on to the next guest. And what was happening during this whole thing was that people were just seeing this cross-functional group generating ideas. There was a lot of collaboration in the chat room. Like there were people talking about like models that they've built and things like that. And it was just a really great way to get a conversation going. So
Do you send models off into your friends, Chris? I mean, I was super excited today because my friend gave me a gift, which was a really cool notebook LM
mhm.
and on some recent AI policies that the White House is passing. And then I regifted said notebook LM to you. And I felt like this is like a new love language. You know, I will send you a gift of my notebook LM, just like I send you my transcript and you receive it.
Notebook LM really is a love language. I'm just straight up. Like, I want to give a shout out to Trina Histon, who
Love Trina.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe we've shouted them out 50% of our episodes, but back when we were working together, we would get an idea on a notebook and we would like compile our sources, put it together, send to each other, and it would like we'd listen to the podcast that it generated first and say, okay, that's good enough. That's good. And we'd say like, hey, it gets this stuff wrong, but you should really check this out. And like just back and forth. Yeah. So you're spot on that notebook LM is a love language.
It's a love language. I love that. I think that's a title. It's
Oh, and
Notebook
for the
LM.
people, let's describe. Like I think that some people might not know what notebook LM is, which if you have your doubts about sources and like you do your search on Anthropic or Chat GPT or whatever and you're like, I don't know about that, notebook LM lets you find the research, find the sources that you want the model to work from, and you load them all up in this central place where you can then ask questions that are all sourced from these sources, and it'll point directly to where in the source it's referring to for the answer to your question.
Yes, I feel like my friend did not realize, my friend John, I don't think he knew that I knew about Notebook LM. So he gave me a lovely tip and he was like, at the bottom, there's a search bar and you can ask the Notebook LM questions. And so I found that to be super handy. I did know that about Notebook LM, but it was like a very nice tutorial piece. Like it's got a Google like search, as we describe this feature that really helps you ensure that you're not making up crap and
Yes.
spouting it out as if it's gospel.
Yeah, so if you're an AI skeptic, I encourage AI skepticism, but not in terms of like throw the whole thing out, but instead verify. And the reason Notebook LM is cool is because it provides an easy way to verify what's being told to you.
Yeah. And Chris, do you have any tips for people that are first notebook LMing? If that's even a verb, like Googling, is it just type things in and see what it brings out? Like, how do you fact check the notebook LM?
The first thing to do is like they make it really easy to load your source. You don't even have to like name it. You open up.
Mom, this is for you, Mom. This tip on notebook LM, right? She's the one that needs like the details. So now I keep going.
So look at your browser tabs. Like you might have all these like papers and like scientific research and stuff like that you really want to read, but you don't have time for it. Go and get one of the URLs, go into Notebook LM and drop it in. And what it'll do first, it'll process it. It'll name the notebook for you. And once it's done that, you hit on the right side of the screen, generate audio or generate podcast. It's a big blue button that says generate something. And when you do, that's kind of the amazing moment to a lot of people is that it generates a podcast, not quite as good as Hope, Power, and Healthcare, but it has us scared, but it generates a podcast where these two artificial hosts are talking about the subject matter and breaking it down. So that's a super cool way to start with it. And then the next thing is like, if you want to know, let's say you got this 17-page paper and you want to find out, well, was this a randomized control trial or was this a single arm study, et cetera, yada, yada, yada. Ask it the question on the bottom of the screen and it'll tell you what the study does. It'll answer whatever your question is, but it'll also give you a place to click in. So it shows you where in the document it's getting that information. So that takes you from that spray and pray, like thinking that like, I hope this thing's right, to I am showing you the receipts.
Amazing. Amazing. I'm sure that is going to help so many. Um, Chris, we've got a lot to chat about today.
In so
Where
little
do you want
time.
to go? Where would you like to go?
Another long time fam, Danielle Vaith, uh, she did a request. We got a request coming in to talk about the White House AI action plan. So that's a direction, and we've also got there's an article that came out from Sasha and Jane about AHIP and the prior auth issue. I don't know if we might want to go there, but do you have some other stuff that you have online as well?
Yeah, and I think the last piece, I saw you kind of tag this too. I caught this as well. Humana being the first insured to integrate directly with with Epic, which I find fascinating when so many of our fam is making selections as they build their companies around, what EMR should they integrate on, right? And so now you've got a direct connection into a payer. So why don't we hit up maybe the White House AI, and you start. I also had the opportunity to watch a really cool webinar on the White House AI action plan, and
Okay.
I thought that was great too. So you start, and I'll fill in some color.
Okay. Cool. So when my read on this thing, when I read it, like there's there's the good, there's the bad, and there's the I have no mouth and I must scream. So that reference is there's a horror story that was written by Harlan Ellison a long time ago that was about an artificial intelligence system that was fed a lot of military data and developed a hatred for humanity and destroyed the entire world and all that. So there's little elements of that, but really I want to I'll just give a quick rundown on my thinking. So it goes into several different pillars that are focused on either like the types of LLMs and generative AI that they want to be a focus, the infrastructure that they're looking for to provide that, and the like some methods and involved organizations, upcoming R&D efforts and things like that. There's a lot to read in there. I really encourage, like normally I would say, hey, notebook LM podcast, but I would actually encourage a read on that. It's very accessible to read. It's no complex language or anywhere, but it's setting a tone in it's setting a tone in some predictable ways. And I don't know, there's honestly some things that I'm excited about with it. The starting off with what I'm excited about is that open source doesn't get a whole lot of press and play because a lot of like what we hear about large language models, agents, and things like that come from gigantic moneyed institutions. Anthropic, OpenAI, Google, Microsoft. They have these big marketing dollars and plays to go and prop up their models as if they are the sole providers of effective AI solutions. But y'all might have heard the news about DeepSeek and other AI laboratories that are generating models that have open weights and open source, which basically means that that you have these capabilities that you would normally pay a lot of money to let's call it OpenAI for. you have these things that are actually, transparently designed and free to use. So it was to see a nod to open source coming out of the document. That was a source of optimism for me in general, but also kind of a call for innovators who are relying solely on, like most frequently, it is OpenAI. When I'm talking to people and I'm talking about like what their LLM infrastructure is, most frequently I'm hearing OpenAI. But this movement to make infrastructure available and this kind of tacit support of open source just tells me that, as like from an innovator perspective, rather than depending on just these 4 or 5 core big frontier models with the gigantic budgets and things like that, there is an opportunity to see improvements in these in open source models that have a lot more explainability and transparency available to them, a lot more tight control, so that you can get smarter about the network of various AI touch points and LLM touch points within applications. So the good overall is like, hey, support open source, and there's some interesting things that I think people should keep keep track of, particularly upcoming the upcoming National AI R&D Initiative. I really didn't like the concept of them saying that like everything should be free of ideological bias necessarily, because it starts raising the question of who determines what is bias and what truth is objective, and that has me deeply concerned. For do we have some body that just evaluates like whether or not stuff a model outputs is favorable to the current administration, and they get dinged if it's not saying enough nice things about MAGA or what have you. So I'm extremely concerned for that, but I want to counterbalance that with like a preponderance of open source models that they won't have as much control over anyway. And I want to also just get people focused on following that national R&D effort, and finding out ways and areas where you can contribute, because there will be more RFIs and things like that. Just like CMS released their innovation RFI, there's going to be a lot of stuff to follow and keep up with, and transform the pace of your development based on it.
Yeah, that's super interesting. And actually, I kind of hate that it's super interesting piece. I would say I agree with you, Chris, on both your pros and your cons. When I think about some of these edicts, I guess we should call it, maybe that's the wrong word, they are a plan. And I heard this on the webinar too, so this is not my original thought, but these are just plans. They do not equate to the exact execution, right? So there's like
Yes.
some nominations on what should happen and which administrative agency should be driving this, but we all know that like actually executing is really where the rubber hits the literal road. And I guess are going to have to wait and see kind of what evolves.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm happy to see people starting to talk about it. I'm very excited to see responsible use of AI. That was a huge proponent back when I was working with autonomous AI, is like, what is responsible AI? Going back to your point around who gets to mandate what is good, what is able to be said, how do we eliminate bias as we develop some of the algorithms? And I think one of the most interesting comments that I heard kind of goes to who is going to be most impacted around this workforce development around AI. So this was like such a really interesting metaphor, but one of the women on the panel was talking about interviews. Actually, these interviews that were conducted around people's beliefs around AI and what jobs AI would replace and supplement, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, I think the question was posed, well, there might be more jobs in the trades. And so, who would like to go work in the trades? And a bunch of women were asked, would you like to become an electrician or a plumber? And the answer resoundingly was like a no, right? And so, my worry is that maybe some of the jobs that are being done by executive assistants and chief of staffs. Like these are the jobs that AI is going to replace. And is there going to be enough representation in, prompt engineering, or as more jobs open up or that can't be replaced by AI to date, kind of in the tradesmanship, is there going to be an unfair impact to different genders? And then, I've got Alyssa over here in the chat writing, please don't replace my job. I have no plans to replace Alyssa with any type of AI. But perhaps even some of these analyst roles, as we talked about Notebook LM earlier, there's going to be less need for some of those earlier stage analysts, for those individuals who are coming out of college, because the analyst work is getting to be replaced by the Notebook LM.
I really want to see how this conversation evolves, because we shouldn't adopt that mindset. Like I think a lot of people early on would try to say that it can't, that like there can't be a replacement, it can't replace jobs, etc. But really, like I've mentioned my friend who's a translator a bunch of times on the show, Allie Miller. Allie K. Miller. I'm sorry. You have to say Allie K. Miller when you refer to her.
There's a lot of Allie Millers out there.
A lot of Allie Millers out there, and she's Allie K. Miller. Follow her on LinkedIn. She's one of the biggest posters about artificial intelligence, and she's built systems in the past, and great person to follow. She posted a paper that Microsoft just released that has two columns, and we'll link this, and I'm looking at it right now. Top 40 occupations with highest AI applicability score, and bottom 40 occupations with lowest AI applicability score. I'm looking at mine. I'm looking on that top 40. We've got at the very top my friend. It says interpreters and translators, and he has definitely taken a hit in terms of how much firms are willing to pay. Like there's a bidding system, and the bids are going down because there's this big brunt of AI that's able to assist and help and do all this giant work. Well, it's definitely having a financial impact on his life. And looking down,
how is he pivoting, Chris? Is he pivoting?
It's rough. It's a rough world out there. Like he's got good savings. He's in a admittedly, like we talk about this, like a more privileged position than other people who are like new into this line of work. So it's tough. He's pivoting it into like his real estate is a big focus.
And it's so interesting because I feel like these moments of pivot, it's like when your product comes out of product market fit, right? And I mean, I think you probably had some analogous experiences, even with Wobot. We've talked about that before a little bit, right? You guys were such a leader at Wobot in really getting out there with the use of AI. And there's probably, other reasons, but definitely the models, it just moved forward at such an incredible speed. When things like that start to happen, people, the first tranche of explorers or founders, have to be ready to pivot and either jump ahead and leapfrog or focus on a different area.
Yeah, because it's like with Wobot, I wouldn't really say that Chat GPT was the death knell of that company. It was super dope, and Chat GPT would send people to Wobot. There's like a lot of other issues that I think were more impactful there, but that's not saying that you're wrong at all, because on this list, like my friend who's an interpreter, that's at the top of the list, but I'm looking about 20 some odd down and I see data scientist. So even when I was talking to a client earlier this week, and I said, man, it's the data science aspect and machine learning aspect is so much more fun than some of the LLM engineering. So to keep here's some stuff that I think through to keep data science relevant in this work. So people should look at that list from Allie, but honestly, when it comes to this job displacement, we're like there on the one hand there is AI, but on the other hand there is also the funding system in general. And if we're to look at the overall numbers, and we look at these layoff announcements and all that, I always question if a layoff that, like a lot of times there will be a massive layoff, and they'll say it's to replace a big chunk of the workforce with AI or AI assistance and all that. But the reality, like when I talk to friends at Salesforce and other places, that it's really more of a budgeting issue with a kind of a veneer on, hey, we're super smart, so we did these layoffs. But no, a lot of times it's because of malinvestment.
Yeah, and I just think it just means we all need to be prepared for pivots, right? And so if what we're doing right now does ceases to exist, what are we going to do next? Maybe we're going to do Pilates at the beach. But we just need to be prepared that like there isn't that level of certainty that there used to be.
Have you done anything that no longer exists?
Oh God, yes. I mean, this is so bad. Chris, I don't go to the grocery store anymore. I mean, the grocery stores still exist, but not for Melissa. Like,
The grocery store, yeah. Shipped has taken a lot of my
right.
money, but given me back time. And now the grocery store, like I love to get out to Trader Joe's and just experience it and get those
Yeah.
groceries in hand. But
Ask
sometimes it's
me
just
this.
not.
Ask me this again. I bet there's like 10 things I'll be able to name next week on things that I no longer have to do. Um, are there things that is no longer gone, like cursive? That would be like, I had to think a moment. Like, I no longer need to write cursive, probably even when I sign checks. I mean, but even signing checks, like, I rarely will sign a check. They still exist.
Yeah,
I just don't use them.
yeah, we're millennials, and I don't know where my checkbook is. Like I have no clue.
Oh my God, this is a fun topic. We will come back to this. Let's speed round to two things. Or we could pick this up next time. I loved Sachin John's article on prior authorization. I thought it was such a nice callback to where we kind of started. And so nice to have the clinician since neither of us are clinical.
Hmm.
How did it resonate with you, Chris?
So for those who aren't aware, am I saying it wrong? Sation.
I could be pronouncing it wrong.
Let's
You're in
just
the organization, not me.
let's
So
call it
edit
sensation.
that.
Like the sensation here. But he's so cool because like again, so he's the head of Scan Health Plan. And this is one of those issues where there's a lot of contention between payers and physicians, providers, like in terms of burnout, contention that goes all the way down to the patient who's just waiting for like the authorization to go through needed procedures. So it's really powerful to me to see a health plan leader calling it out, rather because he's both a physician and a health plan leader. So that was the type of empathy that I wanted to see. Even I remember when we first brought up those AHIP conversations, and my question was like, well, is it going to have teeth? What are they going to do? And are they involving the providers? And it's great to see someone speaking up about it and on the health plan side and speaking to both sides of the aisle. What about you?
Well, and the quotes were all from clinicians. And I think the piece that I didn't resonate with, if we had to con this article anywhere, is that it's usually not the doctor who's doing the work around gathering the information for the prior authorization. They might be submitting their notes or writing the notes that are done, but this burden falls on the office staff, the administrators, right? And to go completely full circle, like when you prepare that package of prior authorization, I've always seen it on the other side. It's like the doctors at the health plans that are reviewing the notes for medical necessity or like what happened on the case. It's administrivia. It's administrative burden put into the system around how doctors are supposed to be practicing medicine. And sometimes it's for good to prevent fraud, waste, and abuse, but a lot of times it's administrative hurdles that ultimately just get overwritten or approved.
That so I like the fact that you're bringing in a whole perspective there.
Well, you
Uh,
like the fact that I'm talking negative about a health plan, which you know I very rarely do.
Hey, but the thing that we need to bring up though is healthcare is not just health plans and physicians. you're bringing up the whole support staff, the whole family that's needed to make these things happen effectively. And I think we should have a broader conversation about that. And even so the ending clinician burnout summit is coming up in November. Have the pleasure of partnering in with them to do some organizing there. But one big thing that we're focusing on is cross-departmental collaboration. So it's not
Yes.
just about clinicians and physicians. We've got Amy Como, who is the former VP of marketing for Emory Health System, and she's going to be talking about administrator burnout and team and staff burnout, as well as the things that impact our clinicians.
Collaborative care gives me hope. Preventing burnout gives me hope. So I'm really excited to help you hype that up as we continue on our fun podcasting journey.
Well,
Chris,
oh, go
can I
ahead.
turn us? Can I flip us to the fun, or do you have one more point you want to make?
Now we've got to go to the fun. I'm going to call it.
Not that the entire podcast hasn't been, a blast today,
I've got to say fun, fortunately, because I've got to jump to a client call after this.
yes. Okay. So, Chris, what are you watching? What are you reading?
The thing that I wanted to talk about is Philip Glass Symphony Number 5, which came out like 20 years ago ish, but listened to it throughout my life. And the major thing about this, and I got to be really fast with it, but Symphony 5 it's like an opera, but all of the text in the opera it comes from various religious texts. Eastern religions, Western religions, all throughout. It starts with a combination of creation stories and goes all the way to like love and joy, pain and suffering, the apocalypse, compassion,
Wow.
and all the way to paradise. But the beauty of like I was listening to it on my run this morning, and I was just reminded of the fact that while they're singing and performing, you don't necessarily know which religious text they're singing from. You can follow along with the with the notes, but while like if you're out for a run and you're listening to it, you're just hearing this merging of all of these deep ancient creation stories and things like that, and it just made me reflect on how much we have in common across all these various beliefs and belief systems and structures. It was just a really powerful experience for me.
That is just so beautiful. I cannot even share the absolute trash that I am watching.
I have trash too. I share trash too, but this one hit me this morning.
I feel like we should end on that, and no one should even know that I have watched every single episode of The Hunting Wives on Netflix.
The Hunting Wives. Writing it down.
Please, there is a little bit of healthcare in that there's definitely like mental health needs that go unaddressed, and a whole discord around guns and politics and all of that. But just please, fam, for your all's sake, do not watch this show with children in the room. It is just not appropriate.
The Hunting Wives, they're going out on hunting expeditions. Like, what are they doing? What is this?
It's a bunch of Texas women who there's like a whole murder mystery when an East Coast woman joins their group of women. And yes, one of the things they do for sport is go out on the lake, and they go and they hunt boar, and boar apparently are very destructive to the landscape, and it's just a guilty pleasure.
I don't believe in
Pleasure.
I don't believe in guilt on the pleasure. Like, have fun. I want to check it out. Like, no kids in the room, obviously, but that sounds awesome. Melissa, so good. Smooth conversation today. I want to remind everybody too that
check your Wi-Fi. No.
Yeah, Wi-Fi is great. You got to move down here, but Discord, it's kind of popping off. So hop in there and join us. Yeah, join the conversation.
A big shout out to John Bailey for letting me listen to his AEI moderated panel on the White House's action plan. Appreciate that. And for sharing the Notebook LM.
Fantabulous, y'all. And is that something to share with the fam, or is that just
yes?
Okay.
Yes. We will share away.
All
we will
right.
re-gift to the entire fam.
Thank y'all so much.